Hi everyone. If you're coming into this channel for the very first time, you're very much welcome. We would recommend that you subscribe and become a part of our family. I speak largely here about project management, enterprise architecture, and data analysis. If any of this resonates with you, then you can become a part of our family. Today, I would actually start by giving out the outline of what we'll be covering today. The very first of them, we'll look at cleaning up the V's that we started out in our first video. So if you haven't seen our first video yet, we recommend that you go look for our first video, my first Tableau dashboard. And thereafter, we will talk a bit about how to figure what charts to make. Yeah, we'll go into looking at KPIs. We will speak about dashboard actions. We'll talk about dashboard filters. We'd also look around conversations around chart types, filters, parameters, basic calculations, and one or two LODs to help us take this conversation further. Let's start by continuing where we stopped. Now, this is where we stopped in our previous video. And then if you look at this, we can make it a lot more sleek. Now, but before I go into doing what I would love to do with these, I would show you a bit around the room just to give you inspiration, rich inspirations that will help your journey so that you understand that making a video is different when we get into the work properly. Now, to get us started, let's take away some inspiration today. Now, here is a Viz. Here is what a proper Viz looks like. Yeah, this inspiration came from a lady called Ganges. Yeah, and we are giving you the channel is designed to give you the rudiments of things that will help you put together something as sleek and as beautiful as this. You can find these on my profile. You can find all of these on my profile. So I'm spooling out these V's from my profile. Another inspiration to give you a foretaste of the kind of things you will be doing as you get into the world of visualization and Vizing. Okay, I'll quickly show you one more. The life of raw materials. I wouldn't want to go into the full details of all of these. And then I'm just going to show you one last one, and then we'll take it up from there. So we tried this out with a black theme. Please go on my profile and explore them for yourself. You're free to download them and try recreating them. It's called reverse engineering. All right. Having said that, let's go quickly back into our first V's. We can make these a lot more distinct, and one way we can do that is click on the chart and then give it a color. Change the background, make it a brownish kind of background, change the background here, give it about the same color. And then for each of them, I'm going to give it an outward padding of 20. Now, just to remind you, if you've forgotten about outward paddings and inward paddings, please go back to our first video and you're going to relieve a whole lot of information around that. Now, a few things I'm going to show you around this. So we're looking at cleaning out the V's. Now, the very first of them will be the lines here. Yeah, do you like the lines cutting these? We may want to pull that off. I'm comfortable. Again, you see the lines here, the grid lines here. I'm pretty comfortable with the one on this side. Yeah, but I'm not very comfortable with the lines on this side. So let's look at how to play around with all of those lines. First, I may just want to make these a bit more conspicuous. So go to labels, turn the profits. Okay, so I'm just going to make that a bit bolder. Yeah, I'm sure you're aware you can do a whole lot with this. You can change the fonts, the size, and all of that, but we'll not do all that So let's start with where we were going to start for today. First, we could change the font sizes and the type here. Right click on this, format, and then go do this. So when you are in the lines, you see when you go to lines, you can remove all the lines here. You see they have grid lines here. It's set to none, 0 lines, none. I'm going to take all off for now. I would like you to play around with each and every one of these and see what it brings to the table. It's really interesting what each of them does. I'll make another video on each of these lines. Yeah. So, yeah. Now, after you've set all of them to none, it's very proper that you don't rest on your R's. Because if you look, you could still see grid lines on this screen. Yeah. So it's very appropriate that you don't rest on your R's. So what are you recommended to do? Check in beyond sheet. Look at rows. Is it clean? Yes. Look at columns. Is it clean? You see, grid lines are not cleaned in columns. In columns. So if I just put the color a bit deeper, you see that grid line is there. So I could take this off. Now, for some people, they love to have their 0 lines. And in this case, the appropriate 0 line will be the one in column. So you could bring in the 0 line. Yeah. So you see the 0 line determines where the 0 point starts from. So that really looks good. Now, when we come back to the dashboard, it's when you will appreciate what you've done. Like you can see those lines, those grid lines are no longer there. So this looks a lot cleaner. Now, on the alternative with regards to this one, we're going to open it. We're going to watch. I'm okay with the grid lines on this one, so I'm not going to try to take it off. Yeah. So maybe what I would do is change the colors here from red, maybe take something. Yeah, so what should we take? Very deep color. And then look for a very deep color here too. Okay, so you have that kind of experience. I'm happy with the grid line. So what I could do, I could double click on this. Yeah, and then wipe off these axes. So remove this profit from here. And then again, that depends on you. So profit over period still covers that. Okay, now you have a much nicer dashboard. Again, we're going to look in a different video. We will talk a whole lot about the use of colors. But for today, we're going to keep it limited to the things that we touched on. Now, let's talk about KPIs. Now, if I quickly take you around the room, you see these are KPIs. And what are KPIs? KPIs are specific measurable metrics used to what? Track performance. Specific measurable metrics used to track performance. And they kind of give performance in a very summary perspective. And if you look at the things on this side, you can realize that they are very much performance oriented. So how many patients in total visited the hospital? So you see them, they are always here. In some texts, in some readings, you might hear the name BAN. Yeah, BAN numbers. So you have, look at them here, BAN numbers, big ass numbers. Whatever term you find them, you're right. Okay, now let's go in and see how we could do a simple KPI. So let's pull up one of them. For these V's, we'll be looking very simply at number of customers that we've had. To help us get the number of customers, what we can do is, or the number of orders that has been done. So we're going to drag orders and drop it right here. Now, and then we'll come here, drop it down, measure, and then count. That, my friends, is a simple table calculation. a simple table calculation. Now, on the other hand, what you could do is to do this. Create calculated field. Now, because we know we want to reuse this, and because we want to reuse this, we could drag. Now look at this. I'm going to call it count distinct. Now, if you look, that's the function, and every function in Tableau is captured in this place. You look at them, I could scroll through, captured in alphabetical order. And if you step on anyone, if you click on anyone, you're going to find pretty much this experience. So what do we have in there? We're going to have so you're going to have count. Now, when I have count, I can bring in other ID and drop it right in there, because it tells me how that should work. And okay, pretty simple. I will call this word number of orders. Number of orders. Now, that spares me having to always drag and drop and remove this. So I'm going to replace this with this. Just place it on top, right above it, and it will replace itself. It's still the same thing, really. So I'm going to come in here. I'll make this, should make it 20. Make it 20, make it bold. And then you drop this down, and I'm going to just call orders, yeah? Make this one 10. Oh, good. That looks good. So 10, apply this, okay. Automatic, just check the alignment, make sure you align it the way you want to see. There are many types of alignment. I could just quickly just show you. These are both all aligned to the center. This is aligned to the left. Yeah, this is aligned to the left. The other one was aligned to the center. Let's see one other experience, aligned to the left. So it depends on what you are trying to work on. Now, having said that, friends, let's go into the next step. Now, here is it. So from here, we're going to move it. Okay, we now have a sheet here. Let's name the sheet number of orders. So with number of orders, we're going to go to the dashboard, drag it, and place it really nicely in here. You see, it's becoming like a Viz, a KPI board now. So I'm going to drop these down, remove the title, and it comes out really nice. Yeah. Now you could come here, drop it down, edit the width. You want to make the width the size you want it to be. So I'm going to call it 140. Let's make it 150, make it a bit bigger, wider. Awesome. Drop this down again and ask it to fit entire view. Okay, now we've got that. I'm going to come in here, change the font size here to 48. Make it a bit smaller, and then we've got our V's looking really good. Now, having gotten our V's to look this good, we may want to be able to have some form of interactivity in the V's. What that means, my friends, is this. If I click on technology, it should filter the entire V's and show me just for technology. And if I click on office supplies, it should what? Filter the entire V's and give me just for office supplies. Now, how do you create such interactivity in Tableau? There are 3 ways you can go about doing this, and I'm going to take you around all ways. Now, the first and the most easiest is, since we want to send interactivity from this worksheet around the whole dashboard, the very easiest is that you click on that worksheet and then you see there is an icon here. See the icon? Looks like a funnel. Click on it. It says Users Filters. Now, once you have achieved that, you can use that worksheet as a filter. Let's watch. If we click on this, oh, so only 1,560 orders were made from our technology. Office supplies had 3,812 orders, and furniture had 1,819. You see, the experience in the entire dashboard is being filtered because of that worksheet that we used as filter. I had mentioned that there are 3 ways to get this done, so I'm going to quickly go into the second way. So I'm going to drop these down, and then we're going to say it's checked. So another way could have been we clicked on this users filter. So it's either you use the funnel or you use this place. Once you check it, it works for you. Now, the alternative way, which is a longer process, but allows you more flexibility, is that you come to dashboard actions. Now, if you've noticed, there is already a pre-generated, a computer-generated action already there. And that computer-generated action is because we had made an action to it already. We had made a sheet already to be used as a filter. So if you open up that sheet, let's say we open it up to edit it, you would notice where it's coming from, profit by category, and it's supposed to target the entire sheet on that dashboard. That's it. And then it's only when you select that works. Make sense? Good. Now, let's say we could delete that really. We could remove it entirely. And once we remove that and we say, okay, that interactivity has failed. It can't work any longer because we've disabled it. Now let's create it ourselves. So we go to actions, we go to add actions, and in this case, we want to use the filter action. Now, we want to send actions from category, profit by category. So we're going to disable this. We're sending it across the room, so that works. Again, instead of select, which was what we had there earlier, we could say hover. Give it a name. I would normally give it something like profit category filter, something that I would remember. Profit category filter. Make sense? Keep filtered values. Now, you see, whether you go for keep filtered values or you go for, I'll come back to these, to this. So let's watch. So what did we do? We said keep filtered values. Now watch what is going to happen. Whenever you, let's okay it. Whenever you hover on this, and even after you've, see, I hovered on technology, I've taken the mouse off technology. It kept the value for technology, which is 1,560 orders. And in the profit over period, it kept the chart for technology. Are you there? Now, on the alternative, if I hover on office supplies, it will keep, and I take the mouse off it, it will leave it where it was. So it keeps filtered values. Alternatively, do the same for furniture and it will do exactly the same experience. Now let's alter this a bit more. If you want to create a dynamics where after you go off the hover, it should go back to its previous situation. So you're going to do keep all values. Now, it's technology, But when I go off technology, it reverts back to the original chart. It's office supplies. When I get off office supplies, it reverts to its former values. So it's in your place to manipulate these dashboard filters and make them work in your favor. Now let's add some more dynamics to this. First, I'm going to take off number of orders. What I'm saying in essence is the sheets I want to be targeted are just the other two. Don't disturb this. And there is a use case where you don't want to disturb this. Okay. And okay. Now, when I hover on this, profit over period is changing, but orders, number of orders is not changing, irrespective of the fact that I have hovered off that place. So the changes only happen in one chart, in one worksheet, without necessarily happening in the other worksheet. Why? Because we had disabled that worksheet. One last one. I'm going to take it from hover and drop it on select, and I'd say, okay, okay. Now here, no matter how much you hover, you are not going to get a filter experience. It's only when you click that you will get a filter experience. Okay. Now that you have found your way and found the basics to creating a simple Viz, can I share with you a simple way I go around starting an analytic work, particularly when it's not a data set that I'm very much aware of. I use the tool of ChatGPT. So let's take, for instance, the real world fake data, that data set from the community for higher education. So the first thing I'm going to do is what? Copy the file headers, student name, gender. I'm going to copy that out. Then I'm going to go straight to ChatGPT, and I would say, I have a data set with the following columns. Can you see that? I will paste that, every one of those things there. And then I would ask it, provide me a guide on the sort of insights I can derive from this data set. Boom. I press the send button. Got it? Did you see? It takes out time to tell me about 11 charts that I could explore. Now, for today, we will not go neck deep into this, but this gives me a basis. So the first thing it tells me is gender distribution. Yeah, scores submitted and all of that. So you see, I can use these as a basis. And if you look at the work that we have done, you would appreciate the fact that we brought in some of these insights. So show you something. So if you look at these work, look at these work. Yeah, so you see the gender distribution here. Let's see. Scores submitted. So you look at it, you'd see you have, this is where, is it ASAT or ACT? So we kind of now analyzing SAT scores and ACT scores, which we did nicely here. ACT scores and then the two SAT scores. Yeah. And then we've got high school ranking. So you would notice also we derived something around high school ranking. GPA, we also derived something around GPA. Out of state flags, yeah, I think we did some work around out of state flags. I think it's traditional or non-traditional student. So yeah, so it kind of gives us a basis: housing, non-traditional transfer students, you will find literally all of that non-traditional full-time transfer housing and the housing kind of thing. Yeah. All right. That oftentimes forms the basis for which I start out checking if I fully understand the data set and I know what to look out for. All right. Now, having been able to establish what you are going to look out for, then you would know how many charts you are looking to build and then how you hope to put together your dashboard. Having said that, for today's topic, I would want us to go back and look at the subject of filters. Filters. Now, we've got this beautiful work, but I would go open a fresh project and I want to look at cities and the profit we made from cities. So I want to look at cities and the profit we made from cities. You can sort these so that you really appreciate it looks a lot cleaner and better. Now, let's say that after we figured out the whole city idea, we have a need to want to narrow in into cities within a particular state. So let's pay attention more to Alberta. So let's see cities in Alberta. Oh, there were two cities in Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton. And you can clearly see what is coming out from there. Now, let's see we filter a lot more. Maybe we want to take more than one city. Let's say we take Colorado. We try Florida. We look at British Columbia and Kansas. You see, with the filter tool, you are able to filter in to a smaller subset of the data set that you want to look on. Now, speaking about filters, there are other ways that we can use filters. So I'm going to edit this filter. The basic way we use filter up until this time was using the select list, choosing what we want. None. Let's say we want to go using a wildcard kind of thing. So we want to look at all the states that start with an A, all the cities. So we're going to go with, so I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to remove this for now. So I'm going to use city in here. And I'm going to say cities that start with what? An A. So starts with an A. And I'd say apply. Okay. Now this drills in, perhaps I know the name of the city starts with an A, but I can't quickly remember what the name of that city is. So I could use a wildcard and then be able to see a small subset that will help me to really make my decisions faster. So that is using filters by subset, by wildcards. Let's try giving it a condition. Now we want to look at cities whose profits were greater than, what should we go for? Cities whose profit were greater than $20,000. You see, by field profit, sum of profits greater than 20,000. I'm going to apply this now. Oh, none of them. Now let's go with 10. Let's go a bit lower. No one got up to that. Okay, let's try one more. 5. Oh, so there was only one city, Atlanta, that had profit more than $5,000. So let's go with 3. There you go. So Arlington and Atlanta are the only cities who got their profit way above 3,000. Now, again, why is this narrow, so narrow? There is still a wild card. So I'm going to clear this wild card first. I clear that wildcard and I'm going to say leave it at contains. So I'm just going to leave it there. Makes nothing. Now, so there is no exclude this. So exclude does not contain. So I'm going to just clear the wildcard stuff and then come back here and say 3,000. You see that it's a whole lot bigger. Why? That's a whole lot bigger now because I've cleared the A wildcard. Now, you can now narrow it again a bit further to 10,000. Only 4 cities had their profits above 10,000. Now, let's look at an alternative way to what the game of conditions. Now, this is, you could use formulas, but we wouldn't go into that for today. Okay, let's look at one other way. So let's say a field was, the range of the field was, should we use here? Minimum, maximum, let's leave that for today. Okay. Now let's look at the top experience. So first I'm going to come here, clear this off, and then try this. Now, at this point, what we could do is to look at what we call like the top 10. So who were the top 10 cities by profit? You see, top 10 by profit. You could as well say top 10 by sales. By sales. So if you look at top 10 by sales, let's see the top 10 by sales. So you can see top 10 by sales were New York. Oh, that sounds good. Now, however, if you notice something, among the top 10 by sales, Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia were also among top 10 by sales. However, they were not profit-making. Hilarious, isn't it? Now, let's go back and see who are the top 10 by profit. Okay, good. So when we do top 10 by profit, you and I do agree that we've got a bigger experience. Good. Now, just like we could do top 10 by profit, we could as well do what? Bottom 10 by profit. And there you go, bottom 10 by profit. Now, you see, it's limiting when we keep trying to alter here. We come here, we alter, is it top 10? Is it top 5? Is it top 20? Is it top 30? Top 20? And then that's a bit limiting. We want to create a dynamic experience where we can alter top N by this, top N by that. So let's stay with the top because we love things that happen at the top. But we want to change this instead of being a number to make it N, where N is being given to the system by us. Okay? Now, so we're going to call it top N. Now, what we have done here is we have initiated, or let's start it again. So we're going to do top N. So you see, create a parameter. Whenever you want to create an N experience, the system knows that what you want is a what? A parameter. Parameters are containers that allows you to dynamically choose what you want in the container. Did I say that again? Parameters are containers. They allow you to choose dynamically what you want in those containers. So create a parameter. Now, the system automatically limits you to an integer because you need to use an integer form of number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all of that. Now it gives you a format of an integer. Now you could decide to go with a range. So it should be any number, but we don't want an 100. It could be a range. You could go with a list. So here you will define what the list will be. So you could say one among the things that will be on that list should be 110, let's say 50, and then let's say 100. Got that? Now, while you've done this, you can as well go for the next thing. So alternatively, which is where I want to go to, you could go to what? Allow all sorts of values. All right. Now, the current number could be anything. I don't really care, but allow all. And I'm going to say, OK. So it says stop n by profit. So I'm going to apply. OK. Now you're going to come to this place, show the parameter, show. You see that? You see where the system dropped it right lower there? Now, whenever one was there, so it means stop one. When you put 10, press enter, and then you have 10. You could dynamically choose this forward 5. Now, the power of parameters is something you will come to enjoy as you get deeper and deeper into the world of Tableau. It's a really powerful thing, and it allows you to create a lot of dynamic experiences that will literally blow your mind. Just before we can draw the curtains on today's training, let's look a bit at how we could add some more form of value to these V's. Well, before we start, let's talk about chart types. Now, Tableau has been quite generous, and we have quite a whole number of chart types here. And I think there will be a need to do another V's on what chart type to use, when to use them, and that sort of thing. However, I would like to just draw into the fact that you can dynamically choose a chart type that best suits the kind of conversation that you are trying to do. Now, if you have seen what we had here, orders, so we got 5,111 orders. Now, it will be interesting to know how those orders were. So we have a calculated field that we had somewhere here. We had a calculated field that calculated number of orders. So that's it. We'll drag that here. And we would love to know these orders, what categories did they come from? All right, cool. Now you see, pretty easy. Now, one of the things you can see here is we could have these as a bar chart like this. Sort it up. Looks clean. You could use the entire view screen. So we could look at it in this manner. But if we take it in this manner, we might not find an appropriate place to place it. So what we are trying to achieve is what other ways? The question is, what other ways could we represent this? Let's try this. If I move the category from here and I drop it in colors, it becomes a single bar. Yeah. And then you could come here and sort it. How would you sort this? Let's sort this based on a field called number of orders. And how should we sort this? We should sort this based on this indiscerning manner. So no, let's go with ascending. So the greatest first. So from what we can see here, we can see the fact that office supplies had more orders than furniture and has gained more than even technology. Now, we can superimpose this, but if we use category to achieve what we're about to achieve now, we're going to have a problem eventually. So what we could do is I could do something like this, right click on this. Yeah. What do I do? Duplicate this field. Having duplicated this, I will drag category, this copy, and drop it on label. Now, I know that I may not have enough space for this, where I'm taking it to. So I could drop this down and go to the alias function. So in the alias function, furniture will be forward. We could call it F. Call this an O, and we'll call this a T. So the OFT. You could use 10, 11, make it bold so it's easy to recognize. Yeah. Now, having done that, I want to bring it right under here, but don't forget, I can't bring it here, so I'm going to check. If I bring it here, for it to stick here, there has to be a container carrying it. So I'm going to drag in a container here. Okay, the container is there. So the container is there. I'm looking for the sheet. So it's sheet 7. That's why it's good to name your sheet. So let's come here and call it order bar. It's good practice to name your sheets. I'm going to drag that right in here. Good. Now it sits really nicely there. I'll clean that up. Remove the title. I could come to format. I want to remove the white background there. And then I'd say go to sheets, take off the white background so it's no longer there. Yeah, I could go to the lines, remove all the grid, take off the grid, take off all the reference lines, drop lines, axis lines, just take them all off. Again, don't forget, drill into the row, drill into the column. Then you can see one of the grids is on. Now I'll take this and take it into the same container that was carrying the bar. So I'm going to have this experience. When you double click on this, it activates the container carrying it. So I'm going to make the container 160 by width. Amazing stuff, yeah? Close this. I don't want the legend, so I'm going to delete it off. Yeah, I may want to make this a bit bigger, so I'm going to open this up, expand it, and give it a 180. Yeah, come into this other one. Just ask it to fit entire view, okay? Yeah, again, you could increase the height and make it a 60. That's too much, so I'll make it a 40. Edit the height, make it a 40. All right, cool. Now you can see that most of our orders came from what? Office supplies. However, office supplies was second in terms of profit. Second came from furnitures, but furnitures were what was what? Second when it comes, third when it comes to profit. And lastly, we had technology that had the least order, but had more orders in terms of profit. All right. Now, very good. Now, before we move past this place, we may just want to spend a few minutes talking on alternative ways to present these. But I think we should leave that for another video. Now, for this video, just to round it up, I would show you a few calculations that we could use to achieve some of our needs in terms of calculations. Now, let's look at the very first of one, which I have kept in here. Now, let's say that we want to achieve what we want to achieve in this chart. In this chart, we want to achieve a different color for the maximum. I think you can see that. Look at it here. It's typified in this chart. So the ones with the maximum has the different colors. Yeah, you can see that in this chart. Yeah, it's also good chart practice. Now, what you would do is a calculated field, which we've highlighted earlier, and we use a simple if-then function. So it says, if in this case, it's number of orders. So I'm going to just drag that in here. So if number of orders equals to window max number of orders, I'm going to have to explain all of these. So let's see. So if this, and this will go with the function aggregate. So if window max so if number of orders is equals to window max number of orders. Now this looks at the maximum of all of these on the window, everything on the window. Now, then one, let's call it then A. And since it's a string, we'll put it in braces. So we'll put it right here, A. And then we'll do the same thing here and put it at braces here. All right, cool. Now, let's give it a name, color steels. All right, so if this is equals to the window max of these, then A, else B. Now, what it's going to look at is this number of orders. It's going to derive, here will derive the maximum of all these three. Any one of these that is equals to the maximum will be rated A, and the rest will be rated B. Now, if you want to see how that works, we could pull it up. So we call it color steels. We could pull it up and put it here. You see A, because that's the maximum. Every other one is not the maximum. Now I could use this color steels and drop it at color. Now it gives A a unique color and gives B different colors, where you could choose what color for A. You could choose a color for A and also go ahead and choose a color for B. And there you go. So this could be one beautiful way where you separate colors. Okay, now let's look at another simple calculation that you could have as a calculated field. Here is it. So this one says, if the city is equals to Chicago, then order ID. Now what this does is it checks, for every order it checks, is the city equals to Chicago? So it only spools out only orders that are from the city of Chicago. And when it does that, it counts all the orders from Chicago. So having said that, if we come here, order bar, we could actually just drag it, drop it on. So there are 314 orders from Chicago. We could call these a Chicago orders. Chicago orders. All right, here are a few basic calculations that could be of great help when you are doing your task. Now, till we come your way again, do like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what topics you would like us to delve in for you, and we'll be happy to make a video in that direction. Thank you very much.